I realized how sleep deprived I was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was crazy because I had been in that routine for years. For years, and I would go to sleep and wake up tired. Go to sleep tired, wake up tired.
Yeah.
But I normalized feeling that way. You know, but now I recognize on top of eating good is equally important to get adequate rest.
You are now listening to the thoughts and sounds of IC the God King. This is the IC Experience.
It also comes with the stress that man, you could be in top shape condition and be stressed the hell out, you know, and that bitch come in, that bitch jab you, and just being the man, you kind of just be like, I gotta go, I gotta keep doing this. You kind of get into a routine where you're not really thinking about it until your body shuts you down. Hopefully when it shuts you down, it's not shutting you down in a permanent manner. You know, like I said earlier, that tingling was like an alarm going off. Like, hey, you better get on top of this, son. Ain't right.
Right.
You know, and we don't want that to happen to anybody. And we always talk about trying to change our diet. And that's a cultural thing, and it's going to be hard to unlearn a lot of the things that we grew up eating and stuff. And it's like a good balance if you don't eat it that much. You know, what I try to do is Monday through Friday, I try to eat clean and then have some cheat days once or twice out the week. You know what I'm saying? I don't expect nobody to go cold turkey, you know?
Yeah. When, I know for me, it was like a bit of a health scare and kind of alarming when I realized that like I had high blood pressure. Right. And I've seen people, you know, and I've just kind of felt things going on with my body, but I've also seen people who deal with that kind of stuff when they get older, and it's not anything that you want to be a part of. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to go to that party at all. You know, so for me, it was just like, it was cutting a lot of things out of my diet, you know, because I realized that almost everything that I was eating, it didn't make me feel good afterwards.
You
know?
feel full and
sluggish, you know, and then a few minutes later, it's like you didn't eat nothing. You know what I mean? And so like, what are we doing here? You know, you eating chicken tenders with French fries with a bunch of sauce. Like, what does that look like in your body?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's how it started processing for me. It's like, okay, well, what is the difference in my body that takes place when I go eat Chick-fil-A as opposed to go and eating some vegetables and beans from, let's say, a Chipotle, or preparing it at home.
Right.
You know, but this is stuff that you can buy out. You know, it's not hard to get, you know. So what is the effect? And also something that I think about too, because it's like, as we're getting older, you know, colon cancer and all of that stuff. So it made me think about how all of that stuff functioned, and the stress that I put on my digestive system by eating a lot of hamburgers and beef and, you know,
carbohydrates.
Stuff, right. Carbohydrate stuff that's hard to get out of your body. You know, so that's the, you know, so that's where my mindset switched to vegetables. And I saw a lady on Instagram. I'm sure a lot of other people saw this post. She's like, I think she was like 70-something years old.
The brown, dark-skinned lady.
Yeah, brown-skinned lady, you know, petite. Yeah, you know, and just in peak physical condition.
Right. And she was like on a plant-based diet.
Right. And you could tell those nutrients, her body is getting what it needs from what she's putting into it.
Right.
You know, and she said vegetables, fruit, fish, and beans.
Yeah, I think she was like in South Florida or something too. And another thing on top of diet is, and I just recently discovered this, is getting proper rest. You know, trying to be, you know, I fell into like a routine where I'm like, get up to work, take the kids, do this, try to go to the gym on this day, go to work, walk 3 miles, ride my bike 14 miles. And then one day I didn't do that routine, And I came home and I said, you know what? This week is a wash for the gym. You know, I'm just going to chill. And I was going to bed like early, like 9, and I was sleeping. And by the time I realized like day 2, 3 of sleeping like that, I realized how sleep deprived I was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was crazy because I had been in that routine for years. For years, and I would go to sleep and wake up tired. Go to sleep tired, wake up tired.
Yeah.
But I normalized feeling that way. You know, but now I recognize on top of eating good is equally important to get adequate rest.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
So, but yeah, you got any more points on me and healing? Because we kind of did talk about the trauma and the diet and also rest and being physically fit. All of those things would contribute to healing.
Right. And minimizing stress. I mean, this kind of goes into what we're going to be talking to about next. So a couple of points I want to hit is stress, right? And minimizing that in your relationship, you know, or being in a relationship that is very stressful, where you're arguing, you know, on a regular basis. Maybe it's once a week, maybe it's 2 or 3 times a week, you know, or a month or whatever it is. But like you were saying, like that, we misjudge sometimes by the effect those things are having. And it's hard to know if you're in it all the time. Like until you remove yourself from it and you're able to do some A/B testing, just like in a science test, you do the control and the whatever it is, but just the A/B testing. You know what I mean? So yeah, you know, minimizing stress, because it's like you were saying, like you were sleep deprived. That was one thing, you know, but then you can also have too much stress going on in your life and you don't realize how it's affecting you physically and mentally until you get away from it.
Right. That's true.
And add years, you can feel the years being added back to your life.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I was in a situation where I would have probably killed myself fairly soon if I stayed in that vibration.
In that environment.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You know, so so that's a thing. And then we also have like depression and anxiety, right? So we were talking about depression and anxiety because I saw a clip of David Banner. He was on Club Shay Shay talking about how, you know, with all of the things that he's been through, he was surprised that at this age, with everything that he's been through and also everything that he's accomplished, that he feels these strong waves of anxiety and depression.
Right.
And that caught my attention because I also have those same feelings, you know, of just like, I feel a lot of anxiousness. And now, before, I think I always felt anxiety. I just didn't know what it was before.
Right. I didn't start feeling until like my mid-30s, you know. And so
you didn't start feeling it, or you hadn't identified it until you?
I didn't start feeling it that I can recall. I'm sure there were like traumatic events happening, but I wasn't feeling the pressure from it, you know, because it wasn't really involving me. It might have been like my parents or somebody. And I was like, oh, I could feel the tense. Right. But it wasn't until I was like 35 till now that I'm like, oh, that's that feeling. Right. You know, just like the arm tingling. Right. I know I could feel like, oh, that's what it was, you know. And I had a late great friend. She's the one who told me. I told her, I said, I just feel like, I know a lot of people, they say it feel like an elephant sitting on your chest. Mine didn't feel like that. Mine felt like butterflies. It felt like tingling in my chest. Okay. You know. Okay. And it felt like a ball that was like spinning in my chest. Right. You know, and then she's like, oh, that's called anxiety, honey. And I was like, and a what?
Anxiety.
Right. who that? Who there? You know, so but you know, and then at that time I was learning about different things to try to help with anxiety, you know, and then I can go around and I could look at other people and I'm like, damn, they stress, you know, and that, like you said, it'll impact your personal life, your professional life. If you're not resting, eating right, and meditating and or praying to help relieve the stress, you know, it could affect so many things. Like you said, it could affect you being a parent. It could affect you in relationships. It can affect you at work. It can just affect you just in general. Like, that's what a lot of time when you see that road rage incidents, man, them people be stressed out.
Right.
You know? And it just, some bad stuff happened on that moment.
Right. And that's you know, that's a message that I definitely want to put out there to people is like, man, if you in a situation that's stressful and you having to argue and fight or look over your shoulder, you know, that's not where you want to be.
Right.
You know, like don't think that that's a situation that you need to figure out how to make work. No, don't make that work. You need to remove yourself, get somewhere else or around some other people or in a different situation. Because I know some people will normalize that, you know what I'm saying? And be like, oh, well, you know, we just,
and because you grew up seeing stuff like that.
Right.
So you think that's what it is.
Right. You think that's okay, you know, but not understanding the reason why it's not okay.
Yeah.
You know, and the reason why it's not okay is because the stress can kill you, literally.
Right.
Know? It can literally kill you, you know. So, and I think, you know, as you know, we're 40 plus now, so you know, as our mind begins to expand, right? Continues to expand.
Right.
We have so many more experiences and so much more information and knowledge to pull from, and so many more things that we're responsible for and that we think about.
Right.
You know, and I think like as we get older, I was talking to Jalal about this, but there's nothing that really tells you how to manage these thoughts.
Yeah.
You know,
we said in a couple of episodes ago, we out here figuring it out as we're going, you know?
Right.
And speaking of that, that's why you definitely need a strong village, because a lot of the stuff that you experience, I benefit from, vice versa. And even when I'm feeling down, you need somebody to lean on, you know, or express how you feel, and they might give you an insight that you didn't even think about and hold us accountable.
Right.
So, you know, like you said, you talked to Josh, shout out to Jalal. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Attorney Bailey. You know, these are all people that I know that personally, and whenever I'm going through situations, they'll reach out, you know, and do things that let people know, like, hey, they give me the to keep going.
Right. Yeah, you definitely need that because, you know, as we continue to go on this journey that we're on, we're only going to get more of that.
Yeah.
You know, more experiences, more knowledge and information, you know, and just kind of have to continue to figure out how to best manage that. You know, what is the sequence of managing these thoughts and feelings and emotions that kind of gets us the best results. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you this is like a side note. So I was thinking about it, right? I posted this on my stories, but I deleted it real quick. Right. So, because I'm like, yeah, people might take this the wrong way or something. But I was thinking about it. I'm like, what if one of the like biggest lies ever told to people, right? Was that the person who created all of this is a higher level being. Right? What if the truth is that, because you know how they say humans only use like 10% of their brain. What if the truth is God is really just a human that figured out how to use like 90 to 100% of his brain?
That's deep. I don't know if people are ready for that, but that's a deep thought, though.
How would that change how you view yourself?
That's like the movie Limitless or Lucy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, yeah, you this whole play was played so that you don't understand
what's going on,
that this exists within you.
Yeah, that's we're gonna have to table that one.
Yeah. Yeah,
the table that
that's
one.
why I said so I just had to get it out there. You know what I'm saying?
Matter of fact, we're gonna jump on live and then talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
Okay.
But hey, we're gonna wrap it up. Hopefully my camera ain't run out of time yet.
Yeah.
We appreciate everybody checking in, fucking with us. We really enjoy it.
Big facts.
And we noticed a lot of people really enjoyed the dripping or tripping. And we put on some stuff today, and we gonna come out with that too. So stay tuned.
Big facts.
Signing out.